I'm sorry for this angle and this lighting, and if you can hear my heater, I'm very sorry. The heat just kicked on and I'm in my like heated blanket, so I just can't be bothered to move. But I am now 50% of the way through Twilight, actually 56% of the way through Twilight, and I forgot some things about this book. Why did no one tell me this was kind of like insta-lovey, but not at the same time? I don't know, because they meet and they don't have a lot of conversation, and then the one like time they have like a date and she comes home and she's like, I just know 3 things are certain. I'm unconditionally, no, what does she say? Edward is a vampire, something else, and I'm unconditionally and irrevocably in love with him. Like, girl, do you even know who that is? No, you've had like 3 conversations with him and you're already in love with him? To me is insta love. And also, can we talk about how Edward is kind of like possessive and controlling in a way? Like, why did no one mention this? When was Twilight written? 2005. So yeah, I guess it for the times, yes. Why did no one say that he is possessive and controlling? How like, don't go nowhere, you better not hurt yourself, like stay safe, or what? He's just like very that. And I mean, there's a way to do it without being controlling and with love. And then there's also Edward's way where he's like, you better not do that. Like, dude, chill out. Also, Bella is so annoying. So annoying. We get it, you're clumsy. You don't have to tell us on every single page. You know what I'm saying? She's like, I'm clumsy, I'll trip over this. Girl, there's a lot of scenes also in this book that I want to write down and like compare to on screen because it's so different in the book. I think the movie translated it so well, because if they did it just like in the book on screen, like exact copy, I don't think it would have done well. But so bravo to the screenplay writers, because they did so well turning this into what it was. Yeah, those are basically my thoughts. So where I'm at in the book is they're officially together. It is right before the dance. It was just the part where he was like, so the lion fell in love with the lamb. You know that scene I'm talking about? That's where I'm at. And also the scene in the movie, you know, where he's like brings her to the forest and like shows her what he really is, and he's like, see if you can outrun me, blah, I'm a killer, whatever he says. So cringe in the book, so cringe. But those are all my thoughts and my feelings. I'm gonna read a little bit more and maybe I'll come back before I finish the book. If not, definitely when I finish it. So hi guys, so I've officially finished Twilight, and here are my thoughts and my feelings about this book. If this book wasn't a cult classic, I don't care if you don't consider it a classic, it's a classic. Oh, I've read the classics, or what is it? Oh, I've read the big 3, whatever it is. I probably wouldn't have read it all the way through. It's so funny how different our, and maybe this is gonna sound dumb, how different our undeveloped brain is versus our developed brain when it comes to like certain things like loves, relationships, friendships, like right stuff like that. It's so different, because I remember going crazy for Edward and Bella, and now looking back I'm like, that is not a healthy relationship. That's quite toxic. I mean, put aside the age difference, okay, we're gonna put that aside. But the fact that he's just so possessive and like protective and literally does not let her breathe is insane to me. And the fact that he just keeps reiterating how tasty she smells. I'm like, shut up. We get it, you're a vampire. You don't need to like keep saying how tasty she smells. Like, we understand. You like the smell of her blood. And what else was I, oh, the fact that they fell so quick, so hard. No, not a fan of that. I like, they were saying I love you after the first date or some stupid shit like that. It's kind of unhealthy how attached she is to him already, and like she can't picture her life without him, and she's ready to like basically end her life and live immortally just to be with him forever. And maybe this is me looking at it as like not a romantic person, but like I don't know, something about that just doesn't sit right to me. If you take away the fantastical elements of this book, like the vampire element, if you take that away, if you just look at their relationship, Edward and Bella, it's so unhealthy. It's not great. But I will say I'm intrigued to keep reading this series and see like how the books change, like how the author's writing grows as we go on. Now, I'm not saying every single one will be a video, or maybe it will, because that's probably the only way I will read them, is if we're doing a video. But I don't know. I think the book's a solid like 2.5, 3 star. It's not awful, especially if you're younger, maybe not. I don't know who to recommend this book for. Young adults, I guess, new adults, something like that. But I think if you're like in your, my age, it's a little too young. But it's fun to read because of what it is. Also, please ignore Wyatt. I had to shut the door because I have a fan running and I didn't want you guys to hear it. So now we move on to the movie portion. So we are going to write some facts about this movie. We'll go over it together later tonight, but I also am going to write down some certain scenes that I want to compare from the book to the movie. So we're gonna do that. Let's do it. Friends, we've reached the point of the video where we're going to be watching the movie. I'm so excited. This is what I love. I love movies so much. So as you know, I wrote some notes about this movie. I left the Twilight scenes and notes blank except for one note, which I'll talk about in a minute. So if you don't know, this movie had 4 directors, which I don't know if they were put under directors and they were different people assigned to different jobs and they just put them under directors. I don't know, but I thought that was strange. I've never heard really movies having more than like 2 directors. This movie came out in 2008. So I was a freshman in high school when this movie came out. And I went to the midnight premiere. I actually went to the midnight premiere of every single movie in this series. And it's kind of sad that movies no longer do that because that is the best part of the movie. And I don't know, it was such a time. And if you ever went to a midnight premiere of a movie, let me know because you know how it is. Harry Potter, Twilight, what was the other big one? Oh, The Hunger Games, I think was a really big one. Divergent was a big one. I think Divergent was a big one. I can't remember. Did I ever go to midnight premiere? No, I just remember Twilight being really big, and of course Harry Potter. I remember going and seeing Harry Potter at midnight, which thinking about going to a midnight premiere now, I don't think I could do it. I don't know how my mom did it because my mom went with me to every single midnight premiere because she loved Twilight as well. I got these books for Christmas one year and I ate them up. Literally, I think I read Twilight in one sitting. I remember opening the series on Christmas and that day I read Twilight. I was just hooked. Okay, some fun facts about Twilight. So the movie was already in motion before Stephenie Meyer even finished writing Twilight. I would love to know how that went down. Like, they obviously had to read some of Twilight in order to like, be like, yes, this would translate well on screen. I just want to know how they did it, you know? Who did what? Like, I just want to know. I'm nosy, so I would love to know. Kristen Stewart, who, if you don't know, plays Bella, and she had to wear contacts the entire film series because Her eyes are green and Bella's are brown. And if you don't know, I guess I should say Robert Pattinson plays Edward, which I think everyone and their mother knows, but if not, it's okay. I'm informing you of that. And actually, if you don't know, Robert Pattinson, his music is on the Twilight soundtrack, which is interesting. I didn't know back in the day, and I should have known because I was a Twilight stan. Oh, and also another thing that was premiere is you would go to Walmart on midnight when they would release the movies on DVDs and go get it. Y'all remember that? Does anyone remember that? I remember that. I did that for Twilight. I did that. The first scenes that were filmed were the baseball scene and the ballet scene, which are two scenes, if I remember correctly. Like, I know the ballet scene's like one of the last scenes in the movie, but I think the baseball one was smack down in the middle, or maybe it was like right towards the end too, because that sets everything in motion, which I always find fascinating when directors choose certain orders to film stuff. I just find it fascinating. Almost every single TV that appears in the movie is playing the ballet scene in the background, which I've never caught before, and I'm gonna look for it because that's New Moon, which is the second book in this series and the second movie, got the green light to be filmed after one day of Twilight being out because Twilight did so well in the box office. Robert Pattinson had to learn to drive for this movie. Here's something that's different between the book. Well, one of the big differences is the Cullens in the movie all wear jewelry that has like the family crest on it, and that's not a thing in the books. And I wonder if the movie did that for us to visually see like they're part of like a coven, not a coven, a clan, like a clan of vampires. I don't know. And Stephenie Meyer, her first choice for Edward and Bella weren't Rob and Kristen, like at all. I forget, oh, Lily Collins, I think, auditioned for Bella. I just can't imagine this movie being what it is without them being Edward and Bella. Like, they fit Edward and Bella so well. But there's all the fun facts. Let's get to watching this movie because I am beyond excited to get this movie started. I need to watch it. I'm craving it now.
I'd never given much thought to how I would die. Who's he?
That's Edward Cullen.
You're impossibly fast and strong. Your skin is pale white and ice cold. Your eyes change color. And sometimes you speak like you're from a different time. You never eat or drink anything. You don't go out and you know what you are.
Say it. Out loud. Say it.
Vampire.
Some of mine fell in love with the lamb. Well, I could always make you. You better hold on tight, spider monkey.
Cringe.
I know what I want.
Hi guys, so it's been a week since I've watched Twilight. Completely forgot to close out this vlog. I had a lot go on in my personal life, but I did take notes during the movie, which is something I normally don't do. I've only done it one other time, and that was with Whiplash, because that movie is so good. There's a lot to that movie, but Twilight I took notes because I'm doing a video on it, and there's a lot of notes. Like, I mean, a lot of notes, and my handwriting gets sloppier and sloppier as it goes on. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start with my initial thoughts of the movie. Initial thoughts watching it probably 5 years later is it's still an iconic film. I mean, it was a film of its time. Do I think if this movie came out today, would it be what it is? No. I think if they were to ever redo the Twilight franchise, which I don't think they ever will, but if they were, I feel like HBO would be a great network to pick it up and do kind of like a series about it. But the film was the blue tinge, the color grading. Whose idea was that? And I know it was to make it look more like rainy and like gloomy and all that because they were in Forks, Washington. But I just like want to know who thought it was a great idea to color grade it that blue. Also, the acting was just nope. There were so many parts in this movie where you see Edward and he's kind of standoffish about Bella, and then it like flips a switch and he's all about Bella. It just was too quick for me now looking at it, especially from the moment like they started talking and then they were like, oh, we're in love with each other. Where was the getting to know each other part? That didn't happen in this movie at all. Let's see. One thing that I really noticed was the biggest difference is in the books, the animal attacks weren't really that big of a plot line. They were mentioned, but it wasn't like the whole entire plot. In the movie, it was a bigger thing than what it was. And also the three vampires, Victoria, James, and Laurent, were more of a plot line there than they were in the book. Like we didn't see them in the book until like the very like end, like the baseball scene, but we got glimpses of them throughout the entire movie. And Edward is just so weird in the movies versus the book. Like the books, I feel like he's got more of like a swagger. He's more like smooth and like that. He's just freaking weird. Like this scene where he catches a whiff of her in the science lab. Like how could you not be so put off by that? What else? Also, what else did I write down? Oh, Charlie. We love Charlie. I didn't realize how much I adore Charlie until rewatching this. And I was like, Charlie is such a precious soul. We must protect him at all costs. The huge thing that I think they changed, and I don't know why they changed it, maybe to make it more appealing, is when she revealed she knew what Edward was. In the books, they did it on the way home from when she was out shopping or whatever. And like she did it nonchalantly in the car. Like, I know what you are, you're a vampire, whatever. In the book, in the movie, it was behind the school in the forest and she's like, you're a vampire. And they have this whole like thing that goes on. And that's when he's like, so the lion fell in love with the lamb, which is still an iconic line. And yeah, I don't know why. I would love to know why they switched it, maybe to make it more appealing for film. The spider monkey line that we all like adored, maybe not adored, but we all like know is so cringe. Like watching that now as an almost 30-year-old, I'm like, oh my God, cringe. Like that part, cringe. Oh, another thing is in the books, Alice's storyline kind of was explained because James had her as like one of his victims until she was turned, and that was never touched on in the movies. And I don't know if it's because Stephenie Meyer never touched on it again throughout the entire books, or at least I don't think she did. I can't really remember. But I wish she would have touched more on like the other vampires' storylines and how they all became. I wonder, I'd be curious to know what she would change about the books if she were to write them now. Like what is her biggest qualms with them and like her biggest like critiques with her books. I would love to know. I would love to speak to her to know. Also, there is a foreshadowing moment in Twilight where they're having a conversation in the hospital and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna leave. And she's like, you can't leave, don't ever leave me. I think that's foreshadowing for New Moon because we all know what happens in New Moon. The scene where she's sitting in the chair and all the seasons go past. But those are kind of all my notes for Twilight. I give it, you know what? I give it a solid 3. It is what it is. It's fun. It's a great storyline. It's something that's very easy to watch and get lost into the world. And I'm excited to carry on. I don't know when we'll be reading New Moon next. I think I'm probably gonna read something else for next book to screen and then maybe hop back into it just so it's not repetitive. I don't know. But I hope you guys enjoyed this first installment to my books to screen adaptation series. I really love books and I really love films, and I hope you guys can see that. And yeah, I hope you guys had fun with this one. This was a fun first one to do. It really made me like go back to the days where I read Twilight back when I was in like 7th grade. Or maybe I was in 8th grade, something like that. I don't know, but yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Remember to stay kind to yourself and to others around you, and I will see you guys in my next video. Love ya.